welcome back to my channel. This is my week 25 on Zepbound. Today I'm going to be going over GLP-1s in the news. There's some good news, hopefully, out there that you guys are going to find. We'll go over first today. I'm going to go over some of my favorite protein shakes because that's been a big ask from a lot of you for a while. So I'm going to hit those again, talk a little bit about why they're my favorite and how often I use them. Hopefully it'll help you guys figure out if it's going to be something you want to buy or not, especially since some of them are larger containers. I get what your ask is. Do you want to spend the money on something and then you have a giant container of something you're not going to use? Got it. We're going to go over that today. We'll also go over and I will show you my week 25 injection of my 5 milligrams. And of course, we will go over week 24 results. So let's go ahead and get started. This is too good to not go over this very first today. So we're going to go into GLP-1s in the news very first thing because we did have a wonderful report out by Eli Lilly that not only shot their stock price up, but they're also touting a $3 billion increase based off of what they have been doing to increase supply to meet demand for all of their current drugs, as well as the drugs that they've recently had approved for Alzheimer's and other companies that they have acquired. In this announcement that they put out, they also had a very cute little sentence that everybody needs to pay attention to. They are releasing the vials. Yes, they are. So evidently the reason that Eli Lilly is able to remove Tirzepatide from the FDA shortage list is it looks like they have an approval with the FDA to release vials in times of supply shortage directly to the public. This has not previously been allowed in the US, and the reasoning behind this from a manufacturing standpoint, I will let you all know. If you really dig into Eli Lilly and the different types of audits that they've had with the FDA, a lot of their kind of what we call dings that they got and improvement and process improvement and corrections they had to put in place were surrounding aseptic fill conditions of the vials, meaning that they weren't meeting basic standards for quality in order for them to be able to release those vials. There was something happening in their process that they had that it just was what we would call impure. The purity of the product was not there. The integrity of the product was not there. They were finding microorganisms through their testing, all kinds of different things throughout this fill process, as well as the way that the room flowed in general. My kind of thoughts behind this is probably that with all the money they had coming in, they probably just made edits to their manufacturing room. They had the money to do it. They're buying new manufacturing facilities that they can or even building new manufacturing facilities that they can create an aseptic environment that meets what the FDA is looking for. And they're probably, in fact, partnering with the FDA on making sure that they do that in their new facilities. So in the coming weeks, you're going to see the vials coming out for the 2.5 milligram and also the 5 milligram of Tirzepatide. That's Zepbound and Mounjaro. So if you are not used to using needles, here we go. I did previously put up some things that might help you all as far as being able to draw the solution out of the vial, hide the needle from you, anything that you possibly might need. You can find all of that in my YouTube product list over in my Amazon storefront as well. You can find everything there. And I will also individually link it down below for you in the caption. Comment down below if you think you would be okay using your own syringe and vial, or if that's something that deters you from using this product further. I can't wait to see what you guys have to say about this one. It's really a hit or miss topic here. On top of Eli Lilly putting this out, they also said in their report right here, I'll show you guys, that they are warning about the different types of scams and basically counterfeit products that people are putting out there. And I'm not talking about just compounding products, because there was a study that was done, and I'll put that up right over here. It's just a basic report of it, where there was an investigator who tried to obtain 6 different compounded Tirzepatide. Of the 6, he only received 3 of them. So 3 of them were in fact just a scam where they never sent it. They're just taking your money and then you get nothing. 3 sent the product, and then there were some issues with not only the purity of the Tirzepatide that was within all 3 of those samples, but there was also an issue with the amount of Tirzepatide that was within all 3 of those samples. So what I'm trying to do now before I post this is I'm trying to find the actual study and the actual investigation that was done and not just the report out. I do not know where those 3 samples came from to be able to tell you all where they came from. I have no idea. And I think the importance behind this really is just for everybody to realize that when you're not getting an FDA approved and FDA regulated drug, it really can be a mix of anything in the vial that you're getting. The purity cannot really be there. The sterility cannot really be there, which means that there's things within the vial that should not be in there for human consumption. It can be contaminated by multiple different things. And you also really don't have a good control over how much of the peptide, the Tirzepatide, that you are injecting with each time. Whereas with an FDA regulated pen that you would be receiving, or the vial that you'll be getting from Eli Lilly, it's a little bit different when you're getting an FDA regulated pen, for instance, because that pen has the exact mix that should be in there. The vials that Eli Lilly will be releasing are one-time use vials. So these are not the vials like with compounds where you're kind of just trying to swirl and hope that what you're pulling out is the exact amount of Tirzepatide that you need. The vials that Eli Lilly will be sending are one-time use. Therefore, it is the exact mix of that dose that you should be receiving within that same vial. So that is my biggest difference between these two. You know, you're looking at something that has to pass quality testing, has to pass stability, has to pass sterility, has to even pass like packaging requirements for every different continent. Basically, you have the EU, you have JP, you have US, there's different requirements for every country that you send to, as far as even how these things have to be packaged as well. So the strict guidelines and the strict quality that is around manufacturing is just really not there in a basic pharmacy of someone mixing things up. That's always been my message. I also completely understand that the current cost of a real Zepbound or a real Mounjaro is significantly higher, usually about 3 to 4 times higher than the compounded version. I do understand that. I do also think that that's a huge problem and that that's something that our government needs to be addressing with insurance companies and PBMs, because I've also seen things like this popping up where people are saying, oh, hey, I just found out that now my state, Blue Cross Blue Shield, it's not just Michigan anymore. Like I told you all, the Blue Cross Blue Shield letters that came out that said that they were no longer going to be covering weight loss drugs as of August 1st, and everyone would need a new prior authorization submitted to continue through December. However, in January, they were cutting the program completely. That has now spread to other states as well. I do find it interesting that it has gone to North Carolina Blue Cross Blue Shield, seeing as North Carolina Medicaid is going to start covering the weight loss drugs, and we covered that on In the News in previous weeks. There was another study that was done that showed that in the US, Wegovy patients are only staying on Wegovy for about 2 months. There's a lot of questions that I have behind that as well. What did they go on after the 2 months? Were these Wegovy Novo Nordisk patients switching over to Eli Lilly and switching over to Tirzepatide from Ozempic? Were they dropping off of Ozempic? Were they going over into compounds because they couldn't afford the Wegovy anymore? I really feel like a lot of these studies that insurances are using, saying, hey, we're not going to cover this drug because people are only staying on it for 2 months, so you're not really seeing the health benefits for it. They're not continuing the study. They're not doing a proper study in my mind. I come from scientific background for college. I had to do research-based studies like this. You continue to follow the patients to find out what happened to them after your short little frame of time that you're looking at them. You know, did they go on anything else? Did they just continue a healthy diet? Did they switch to a different drug? Did they switch to a generic form? What happened to them after that? And I'm not seeing a whole lot of that in these studies. And so when you see things like this that say, hey, they only stay on it for 2 months, or Blue Cross Blue Shield put out this whole report saying, oh yeah, they only stay on it for a couple of weeks. They're not, you can make data say anything you want it to say. When I was in clinical, I had one of our radiation oncologists come to me and say, hey, I don't have that treatment rate. I understand you can make the data say whatever you want it to say. However, let me explain to you why I know that's not really my treatment rate. And then after I got the full explanation and the whole picture, I realized that there's patients of his that are here, there, and everywhere that are not even on the list and being tracked. The only ones that were being tracked were the ones coming in through a different intake process. So if you're not looking at the full picture and you're trying to paint a negative picture, you can make the data say that if you want it to. And I think that that's really important for people to understand. You can make data say what you want it to. However, it is also still just your opinion without the data. My kind of backing behind that, my Lean Six Sigma trainer that I had when I was in clinical told me without data, it's just your opinion. However, I really feel like you can make data support your opinion if you really want it to by leaving out different aspects of the data. And that's very important to remember. Part of my training that I had within the Harvard Business Management program that I did with that same facility was learning how to present things to make people excited about something that they would not normally be excited about, or to change someone's mind from their current viewpoint so that they are moving in the right direction that you want them to go in. And it's all data. So the insurance companies are saying, hey, they're only staying on it this long, therefore we're going to drop it. And then people are like, oh, okay, I didn't know people only stayed on it that long, and they're in agreement with it. And they keep going. But there's a lot of additional questions that people need to be asking behind some of these studies and behind some of this data, because sometimes you have to dig to find out what the real truth is. All right, now that we got the most exciting part out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna re-show you guys what my favorite protein shakes are. I've had a lot of people saying, hey, we want you to go over this. What are your favorite shakes? What are the good flavors? Is this worth buying? Is it not worth buying? I don't wanna buy this big, huge thing if I'm not gonna use it. And I get that, I get it. So I'm going to work from probably my most used or my most consumed product, and then I'm going to work my way down from there. Hopefully that kind of gives you guys a little bit of insight of what size or what flavors and what I'm using it for. So the very first one is this one. And I know I've gone over this with you guys before. This is the Orgain. This is an organic protein. It is a vegan, I believe it's vegan. Yes. It is a vegan protein. So I don't like to always be consuming a lot of meat and then also drinking a whole lot of protein that also is coming from like whey or coming also from a cow, that type thing. So this one is vanilla bean flavor. It is a plant protein. So you're looking at 21 grams of protein on here. I think what most people are most concerned about with their protein shakes is how many carbs are within the protein shakes, especially coming from a keto background and then a low carb background, you know, from keto. I understand that sometimes carbs can be scary. I get it. However, when you're looking at carbs that are within a protein shake, the majority of the carbs that are in here are coming from some type of vegetable, basically, which I call like, that's an okay carb, okay? I have bad carbs, which are obviously, you know, like your donuts, your cakes, your sugary goodness, your baked goods. And then I have carbs that are broccoli or peas or fruit. I feel like those things are okay carbs to consume. And so this one it does tout on here that it is clean nutrition. I tried this one because it says it has the 50 superfoods on here. And as you all know, I've been really working with my GI system to try and figure out what types of different vegetables I can and cannot have while I have SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. There are different types of vegetables that I can consume that can cause that. I have a monitor that I use. I've showed it to you all before. It's the Food Marble, that after I have things like different types or new types of protein powder, I will test myself to make sure that I'm not having a negative reaction to it. And this is one that for me personally, I don't have a negative reaction to it, and I like the flavors. I like the flavors so much that I also have it in chocolate. I also have it in peanut butter. I like to bake with these as well. So some people like to make like protein pancakes, protein brownies. I use this one the most often in my coffee. It mixes up really, really well. I am not a huge, like, let me just go grab a protein shake and drink it type person. I've always been what I consider a chew my food person. I would much rather go grab some type of snack for myself as opposed to going and grabbing some type of drink for myself. However, that being said, you can often find these, and this one also is the one that has organic pea protein, organic cocoa, organic brown rice, and organic chia seeds in here, which chia seeds are also good for moving things throughout your digestive system in general. If you've never seen chia seeds when they get wet before, I'll show you what it looks like right over here. It really creates like almost like this goo around it, and that kind of goo kind of grabs onto things in your digestive system and will attach to it and then help move it through. So that's one reason why these specifically have been my favorite, because when I have these, I don't find that I stay constipated as much, because there is the protein in here that I need, and then there's also different things that can help move and affiliate, and there's also different things in here that are affiliated with the movement of things through the digestive system, like those chia seeds. I also know that I love organic, I say cocoa, whatever you'd like to say. This is soy-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, 0 grams of sugar in here. It is considered vegan. I will put up the nutritional label right over here so you guys can see the full nutritional label. When I was doing keto, I would have told you that 15 grams of carbs for 2 scoops in here. Oh my gosh, that's going to be too much. However, you're also looking at 21 grams of protein, 4 grams of fat, and then you also have the 5 grams of erythritol in here and 2 grams of fiber. So in essence, for net carbs, if you are doing low carb and keto, you're looking at, let's see, 8. You're looking at 8 net carbs for 2 scoops. Now, I do not always use 2 scoops. I typically only use 1 scoop. And so if you're really only getting about 10 grams of protein, you could even just go and have a bone broth for 10 grams of protein. And I do that quite often in the evening. If I have not hit my protein for the day, then the bare bones broth gets heated up. I just make a normal Keurig hot water, pour that little travel size bone broth in there, mix it up with my frother, go sit down and drink that. It is much easier for me after 6 p.m. to just drink that and still get 10 grams of protein than it is for me to try to eat something and then I have to stay up longer because I can't immediately lay down, especially on these drugs with it slowing down our digestive system, and it can kind of facilitate in that reflux, which I already have as is. I also give these to my kids. If you have picky eaters or you have kids that don't typically get a lot of vegetables, this one has organic grass-fed milk protein in it for my kids. It also has organic fruit powder, organic veggie powder, 22 vitamins and minerals as well in this. They're looking at 8 grass-fed protein, 22 vitamins and minerals, 3 fiber, and they think that they're getting chocolate milk. I get these at Costco. I'm also going to put up over on the side the already pre-mixed protein drinks that I do drink and the ones that I do like. I'm going to rank them from what I would say my favorites are down to my least favorite. And I'm going to rank these from the ones that I buy the most to the ones that I don't buy the most. Now, basically the reason that I would buy them the most though is because a lot of times I can find them on sale, a lot of times I can find them on deal, and a lot of times they have really great flavors or new flavors that I want to try. I will tell you that the one that is second on my list are the ones that I have on hand right now. I say these are OWN. If I am pronouncing it incorrectly, I'm sorry. This one is cookies and cream. I have a coffee one in there that I've been pouring into my cold brew coffee that I make as well. The Premier and the OWN, in my opinion, are great to mix into other smoothies. They're great to also drink on their own. They're great to just throw a straw down in and start going out the door with it. But this one specifically is a non-dairy protein shake. I am a non-dairy person. I'm trying my best to stay away from dairy, but this one is 100% plant protein. So you're looking at the pea protein, organic pumpkin protein, flax oil, soluble fiber, cane sugar in this one. And so you are looking at 20 grams of protein with 8 carbs and 7 fat and 180 calories for this guy right here. It basically, in my opinion, it's a clean protein shake. And so they also have good flavor to them. And sometimes you can get a protein shake that when you're drinking it and the first sip you take, you're like, okay, that's pretty good. And then after you get about a fourth into the protein shake, and I'll show you guys an example of one that this happened to me on while we were traveling. I picked it up at just like the, a typical like truck stop type thing that we stopped at. And the first sip, I was like, okay, that's pretty good. And then about a fourth into it, I almost felt like I had like chalk in my mouth, or I felt like I had cotton in my mouth, and I just did not want to drink any more of it whatsoever. And so I didn't. And I feel like that is a huge waste of money. Like if you only drink like down to here in one of these, then you're throwing the rest of it away. That's a huge waste of money in general. And so you want to get things that taste good. And so in my opinion, the Premier protein shakes, they taste good throughout the entire drink. Now, I don't ever drink like the last little bit of a protein shake regardless, for things that have like settled down there. The last little bit of any shake I'm not going to have. Premier protein shakes are one of those. These I don't know if it does it. I just don't drink that last little bit anyway, just because I feel like, oh, okay, there might be some backwash or something in there. I'll just leave that there. That's not going to be that effective if I don't drink that, right? I will say that the Muscle Milk Light and both the Atkins fiber drinks. I drank Muscle Milk Light. It tasted like a watered down chocolate milk to me. I drank that all through college, even after college, throughout my entire like master's degree. I drank that while I was doing CrossFit. That was probably the one that I had the most until other ones kind of started coming to the market not long after that. It was very hard to find what I would consider to be a low carb shake for a very long time until keto like hit and became so fantastic that everybody wanted to do it, right? And so the Atkins protein shakes that are high in fiber, the reason that a lot of people like those is because, yes, again, you're getting fiber in there so that you're not also having to take a fiber supplement later, but that added fiber also makes the net carbs go down even further within the shake. And they're not too shabby on taste either. I used to buy those kind of by the pallet when we lived down in South Florida and when I was doing keto. And then if I needed some type of shake because I was running out the door and I wasn't getting enough to eat that day, then that would be what I would grab. Speaking of my one that is coffee, this is cold brew coffee. I drank about half of this one this morning. I did just also make a coffee. And so when you're pouring this, you can obviously see it kind of going down in there, right? When you're pouring it down in there, it's kind of easy to mix these up within there. I obviously need a larger cup because my ice has completely melted in here. So let me go find that. All right, you guys ready to watch me spill this all over myself? I'll take it from my Nut Pots cup. I am a big, huge proponent on what I call the good ice. Oh, look at that. The no spill pour. Oh yeah, I definitely needed this bigger cup today. Okay, and so typically what I'll do with this, when I am kind of dragging and sluggish like I am today, because we have had a birthday this week. We have both kids going to school this week. We had to meet the teachers this week. We had to take all of our school supplies in this week. I had to get both kids to school this morning, and I am struggle busting it up because we've had so much. I still have, and you guys can't see it, I have birthday decorations all around this room that I've just kind of like pushed off to the side a little bit. I'll get to it when I get to it. It's been one of those weeks. And so just for me to be able to kind of sit and have a moment and relax and chill and chat with you guys, it's always good. So I want everybody to put down in the comments below. I'm here to like build a community, see what's going on, see what's happening, see who's having struggles, see who's not having struggles, who's having wins. I'd love to hear what you guys have for wins down below. I would love to hear what you guys are struggling with down below. And again, as always, tell me what you guys want me to talk about, because that's what I'm talking about today. You all are going to get 2 videos this week, because going through the hair product section, it got very, very lengthy. And so we're going to separate that out into a separate video this week. Congratulations, you're going to get 2 videos again this week. And I will do a hair training video. So if you are interested in that, you can look for that later this week. All right, so week 24, if you guys recall, I took my 5 milligram. Stop it, Frankie. I took my 5 milligram Zepbound on Wednesday. On Saturday, I took my Cosentyx injection. It was injected right back here. I gained, as of yesterday, Wednesday, I gained 2 pounds. So even on the 5 milligram, the Cosentyx, I'm still gaining weight. However, I did my injection, and I'll show you guys my injection right up over here. I did my injection yesterday of my 5 milligram, and what's really odd is I was at the pool, and last week my injection I did in my left thigh. The week before that, I did in my right thigh. I did not have a bruise on my right thigh going into last week's injection. And then all of a sudden, one day I looked down at the pool and I have 2 bruises on both of my thighs. So that was a little odd. If you guys have ever experienced that before, comment down below, because it waited basically until I did another injection on another site in order for it to show up in bruise. And I've had this happen before when I used to take Enbrel. Each time I would do a new injection, an old injection site would show up and start discoloring as well. Very strange. And so I decided for this week, my week 25, I would not go back into my thighs, even though I typically see the best results in my thighs. And I decided to inject in my left kind of hip area. I've seen a lot of people injecting in these left hip areas, saying that that's like a great site for them because they can get a lot of like kind of fatty tissue there. And so I went ahead and kind of went over on the side and tried that. So I was up by 2 pounds as of yesterday with my Cosentyx injection. I took my next Zepbound yesterday, and then getting up and weighing this morning, now I'm only up a pound from last week. So it is starting to go back down now. So I'm hopeful, fingers crossed, that by next Wednesday, I will have that 2 pounds that was gained from the Cosentyx completely back off. And then I will have another week to try and get everything off. I've basically been teetering back and forth at this exact same weight for multiple weeks now. And so I have reached out to both my local endocrinologist as well as my Weight Watchers Clinic doctor and kind of told them like, hey, this is what's happening. I'm just teetering back and forth, back and forth. I gain the weight from Cosentyx, lose the weight from Cosentyx, and then it's time for Cosentyx again. Gain the weight from Cosentyx, lose the weight from Cosentyx. And I feel like this might be my long-term, like down the road, once I've lost what I need to lose, kind of where I need to stay. I might be on 5 milligrams long-term because I can gain from Cosentyx, lose it right back off, and just keep kind of going back and forth to maintain the same weight. However, I need to lose a lot more. And so I am asking them whether or not they feel I need to go ahead and go up to the 7.5 milligrams, which I wasn't really wanting to do it, but I am going to give it the rest of the next probably 3 weeks and see how it goes. And then we will make a decision then. So that is all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys are excited for some of the upcoming changes, or you might be confused or nervous about some of the upcoming changes. Tell me in the comments down below if you find these videos useful. Make sure that you tap the like, the subscribe, and the bell. That lets YouTube know that you like my videos and that you like this type of content. And that just helps boost this in your own feed. So I will see you guys next time, and thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Bye, y'all.